Great. So thanks so many of you. We hope this will be a participative session. So we want to talk to you a little bit about how we're hoping this session will go. Today, of 3 of us on the phone, I'm Sherry Stanton. I'm the Director of Education Services. Also with us, we have Liz Colon, who you probably have met in training, and Jay Ahmed. Because we don't have a specific topic of interest today, we're just introducing the program. We're your experts for the day. In future sessions where there are experts on the particular topic of interest, we'll make sure that we include them as well. We invite you to ask anything you like. We're anticipating product-related questions. We'd like to have you ask them either via audio or via chat, so feel free to chat us. We'll be monitoring the chat window. Because we have 58 registrants today, we can't really have the lines open because we'll have a lot of background noise. So what we'll do instead is we'll ask you to raise your hand, and when we see your hand raised, we'll open your line to have you ask your question so that you can ask your question via audio. So please feel free to choose to ask questions either via audio or via text. We're happy to do that. For those of you who are joining us from laptops today, you can see that the little hand raise icon is right next to your audio controls in your drop-down GoToMeeting control panel. If you are joining us from a phone today, it will be up at the top of your phone selection. Generally, how we're going to run these meetings, at least in the beginning, until we get a feel for how you guys would like them run, is that we'll start out with some information about whatever the topic of interest is. So most of you signed up from an information sheet that told you the dates of the special interest trainings. You can ask any question you like in any Ask the Expert session, but we've grouped them into topics of interest so that people will have similar questions and similar ones, and hopefully you'll hear other things that are of interest to you. So we'll give a little information on whatever the topic of interest is for the day, then we'll open up the floor for any questions that you have, and as we said before, we invite you to ask questions about any topic at all, and we'll get you an answer if we don't know it. If, for some reason, something occurs to you and it's not this meeting, we invite you to send us questions at training@FranConnect, and we will get the answers to those questions, and then we'll have them prepared for the next Ask the Expert session. We fully anticipate that you're going to stump us with some questions today. You're going to ask questions about functionality that maybe isn't there or maybe takes a little while to set up so that we can demonstrate it. And in those cases, we're going to take those questions and we'll prepare to answer them completely and correctly. And then we'll, for example, do that demo the next Friday and so on. So as many questions as we can answer live on the call today, we're going to do. Anything that is not practical to do that for, we'll do the following Friday. So the first thing that we sort of want to talk to you about is how to find that help in between. So what I'd like to do is hand it over to Liz so that she can give you a little information about where to find some information about things you might be wondering about. How do I get to this?
Hi everyone, it's Liz Colon here, Senior Education Specialist here at FranConnect. I'm going to go ahead and show you my screen now and show you a little bit about some new ways that we're offering help to you. First, if you're in the FranConnect system, on the top right-hand side, below your name is going to be the admin panel. And beneath that is the section called Help. If you're looking for some role-based help, we've actually created that for you here in the Help section. You're going to come into FAQs and user guides inside of Help. And along the left-hand side, you're going to click on Job Aids. And when you do, you'll find that we've actually set up role-based job aids for you so you can come in based on your role and find some things that will assist you. I'm going to go ahead and click on Sales Team today, and what you'll find is at the bottom of the screen are all of our 2-Minute Tuesday video vignettes. These are short 2-minute videos that may be good reminders on how to complete a task in the sales system. Additionally, we've added the sales training guide. And some new things that you haven't yet seen are the sales module quick start guide. This is actually for those that may be getting into FranConnect for the first time and may not yet have experience with sales. And so we invite you to explore the quick start guide, which is going to give you some of the basic functionalities for sales. Additionally, we've added in how to complete the FDD for a franchisee or lead. And so you can go ahead and gain access to this specific quick start tool here in the job aid sales section. And this is going to help either a lead during the sales process complete the FDD or a franchisee during the renewal process complete the FDD. So those are some additional resources for you to gain help today in the system. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jay at this time. I believe he does have a question already on the line that he'll go ahead and answer.
Hi everyone, this is Jay from FranConnect, and we're going to start answering some questions. So as they come, again, we ask that you ask in the chat box or raise your hand. But we had a question about how to handle multi-unit locations. So again, you may or may not have some of these modules, so you can be patient from that. But again, you can continue to grow with FranConnect. But the way multi-unit locations are added within the system, the first thing you would do is you would go log into your system, and for those of you that have the opener module, you're able to add and link multi-unit locations together in here. So as you see, again, for those of you that are new to the franchise opener, it's basically a tool that lets you manage all your store openings consistently using a master checklist, but this is initially where you set up a user. And when you scroll to the bottom where it says add owner details, this is where you can link multi-unit locations together. So in this example, if we wanted to add an owner and they were already part of the system, like they already owned a franchise location, we can simply go to existing owners. From there, we can choose from this drop-down box a list of any existing owners. And so, in this example, we selected one, and they already had a multi-unit ID associated to them. So this could be just a general number, just a way to identify which multi-unit ID is associated to a specific person. So, Alan, in this example, could own a couple locations. So we can go ahead and identify him with some sort of mechanism or naming convention here. So once we've added this, the two accounts will be linked together. Meaning, if they logged in with their user login ID and password, they would be able to toggle in between information for their stores. So again, this applies to you if you have other applications like training, finance, and some of the marketing tools as well as Opener. When you log in, you'll be able to see data for multi-unit locations as a multi-unit owner. So further elaborating on those questions about multi-unit locations, if you ever need to add them from the admin section, we can always go through again, this is for those of you that do not have the opener. What you could do is you could go to the admin on the top right, and then from there, we can go ahead and manage our locations. And we would select the location that is in question. So let's say we've already added the store, and we want to link another owner to it. We can simply go to the right action button, select the user's name, and from this list, we'll be able to either add the users, owners, or employees. So maybe an employee in that example could be a manager that manages several stores. But here, let's say that we want to link this store to another store. We simply go ahead and add the owner. And that will connect the multi-unit owners together under one bucket. All right, so yep, again, that shows you how multi-unit location and owners are managed within the system. So thanks for asking that question. So let's go ahead and give another couple minutes or minute or so for anyone to ask any additional add-on questions or anything they had questions on within the system.
So feel free to do that either in the chat box or by raising your hand, and we'll unmute you, and you can ask your question via audio. Incidentally, because we knew this question ahead of time, there is a help topic on it in the job aids. So feel free to go out there and take a look for that. So every time we have something like that that we can make an instruction sheet for, we'll be adding those in. So hopefully this set of instructions will grow. You guys are letting us off easy. I'm not seeing any hands. Oh, here we go.
All right, so they're coming on in, so we'll try to get as many of those answered as quick as possible.
I'm going to go ahead and unmute Alan. And I are both doing it at the same time. Go ahead. Oh, Alan, can you please enter your PIN? Your PIN has been sent to you, and then I can unmute you. Meanwhile, we have another question, which is where do you house retail lease info?
So we have to help answer that question came in from Joyce Gallardo for where do you house retail lease info. So that would be specific to having the information manager. If you do have this tool, when you go directly into a location, we have a tab specifically tailored towards real estate and contract information. So real estate could be a good example of a place where you could house some of the lease information. We already have some pre-defined fields and labels, so you can take advantage of these best practice labels. Also, the system does allow you to create your own labels and fields, but again, this would be a place where you could harbor some of those lease details.
Thanks. Alan, you're unmuted now. You want to ask your question?
Yes, our question is, if we have multiple territories, so it's a franchisor or franchisee model, and we have a franchisee that has multiple territories, can we link them in here all as one?
So when you say, okay, so when you say multiple territories, you mean like multiple locations as well, or because we do have a multi. Okay, so yes, we have a multi-unit tab. So in this example, you'll be able to see, one specific multi-unit owner and the stores that they're affiliated to. So yes, we have the capability to track multi-unit locations and the relationship between the multi-unit owner as well as entities. So yeah, it would be done through the FIM. And
okay.
When I showed you how to link the stores together, this would link them and show the relationship under this tab.
Perfect. Okay. And that'll help with reporting, and it'll all go to one kind of location?
Absolutely, yep. So you can run reports based off multi-unit locations and collect information under one bucket.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Alan. Okay.
And I think perhaps Lindsay Bradley had a similar type of question for enterprises with multiple locations. Can you add different phone numbers for each location? So, like you see the relationship over here, each store can have their own phone number, because when you go into the record itself, it will allow you to put a unique telephone number associated to that location. So hopefully that answers your question, Lindsay.
Stephanie?
Okay, so we'll continue looking down this list.
So Stephanie's got a question that's a little bit off the topic we're talking on now, just as a question she had. And that's when you go back to a dead lead, to re-engage the lead, why did it not update to the current date?
Yeah, so we'll have to see an example, but in general for that, usually if you go by this lead, it goes off to the inquiry date, the day they actually came in, so timestamps it. And if you put it into a dead lead and revive it, it won't show that specific date only because from a reporting perspective, because there are those individuals that want to see when the lead came in, how long was it a new lead for, how long was it until they were no longer interested. So it's based on some of the reporting, so the relationship between the reporting, but that would probably be one of the reasons. So again, if you have a specific example with your system, with the system that you're using and the lead name specifically, we can go back and look and investigate further. But again, sometimes these timestamps do apply from some of the reports that are within the system. Okay. So again, from elaborating on Stephanie's, when you go into their history, it's important to see the most recent date you talked to them. Well, in order to accomplish that, there's also a log a call option. So this can timestamp the last time you talked to them. So let's just say someone was called today and we talked to them, and they were on vacation, and select add. And so that timestamps each communication that comes in, and so that picks up the recent date that you talked to them. So maybe that could be something you can look into if you're not using that already. All right, so we're continuing to look at some more questions that is coming in. And so another question came in about, the FranConnect system has a proven match assessments, and that came from Joyce. Thank you for that question. We have an integration with proven match assessment. So basically, it's an organization that works with FranConnect to help scientifically help you locate ideal franchise candidates. So you can definitely check out the website for more information. But again, it's just pretty much an integration that is collaborating with the Proven Match organization. It helps you narrow down your franchisees based on their behavior patterns. So we're more than happy to work with you to see if you want to get something like this integrated to your system. So if there are a lot of our customers that were actually using this, and this was one of the popular demands, and so that's something we integrated with. And you can always definitely go to their website to find out more information. So thank you for that question. All right. So if you want to continue keeping the questions coming in, again, we're more than happy to answer those.
And I'm just emailing chat reply back to you.
So again, if there's something that we need more clarification on and you're sending this through the chat message, we're more than happy to answer those as well. All right, so continue to bring those questions in. All right, we just got one for the question about smart groups. So what smart groups is within the sales tool is when you have a certain criteria that you want to collect from a franchise, from a possible candidate and want to put into a bucket, we can use something that we have recently in the system called smart groups to automatically group franchisees based on a criteria. So for example, if you wanted to ask users if they have a credit score of 720 or above, we could go ahead and put that down as a group. So when they go online and fill out the application, the goal is that anyone with a 720 and above credit score would fall into this bucket. So in order to set that up is we would go ahead and create a group name, a description, and use a smart group feature. We can include all the existing leads and also the future leads to match those criteria. So once we select this, we can go ahead and choose the attributes. So again, this can apply to anything. And this could be if you want to organize all the veterans into one, anyone that has a business degree, maybe it was a previous owner of a franchise or a manager. So you can basically filter based off of that criteria. And then, from that case, we can go in and choose the option. Remember, with the system, you're also able to create your own custom fields. So if it's not on here, we can always set those up with the administrative section. But again, we go ahead and choose our question, and we can do, the attribute over here. And everything that goes into that group will be visible in the Groups tab. And we can also set up email campaigns that say, hey, look, your credit score was not part of, our standards. Please check with our credit department to see if we can bring that up. Or, hey, congratulations, we see your credit score is 720. Let's go ahead and fill out the application. So again, you can continue to follow this smart group to help streamline and automate your communication. So thanks for asking that question. Okay, so another one came in from Natalie. And perhaps Liz, if you want to take that, if you're still there.
I'm here. Go ahead and give me the reins, Jay. I'll go ahead and talk to Natalie about that.
All right,
or to the group about that. All right, so an additional question just came in about what smart groups do in Information Manager. And they work the exact same way as Jay just showed you in terms of setup. One of the common examples that I use for smart groups in Information Manager is perhaps you might set up a smart group by state. We learned at Frank Connection that the franchising industry is under attack, and there's a lot of legislation coming out in different states in the country that could impact both franchisor and franchisee. So you might set up a smart group in Information Manager that might be as simple as being state-based. All those franchisees that are currently in New York, for example, are set up in a New York group. That way, if legislation comes out in New York that could potentially impact those franchisees, you can make them aware of that legislation via an email out to the entire group. So smart groups are going to work the same way. As new franchisees come into the system in New York, they're automatically going to be placed into this group. And so as you're getting that legislation and as you're becoming more aware of those things that are going to impact both you and the franchisee, you're going to continuously make this group aware. And so that is one reason to do that. One reason to do smart groups here in Information Manager. We also have a couple other examples here. We can set a smart group for renewals. We can set smart groups for those franchisees who are 10 years or more in our organization. Perhaps we can create a group for those people because we have a different way that perhaps we want to communicate with them in terms of their longevity with us. Perhaps there are people who we tend to find are more compliant in terms of our store audits. And so they're good examples for us. And so there are all types of reasons that you may want to create smart groups. I think the legislation one is a really good use case. And so I hope that answers your question, Natalie. So there's further elaboration on this question. Is Smart Group searching the data in Information Manager, or can I create an individualized group? For example, I want to make a group of owners who have a nurse staff, but that info is not in Information Manager. How would I do that? So that may be a technical question that we want to follow up on, but there is a section in Information Manager for you to collect employees. And so if you go inside franchisees, inside one of your franchise locations, along the left-hand side is employees. And so there's the potential for you to collect the nurse staff here under employees and specifically provide a title, create a field for a title of this employee, which could potentially then allow you the opportunity to pull in and create a smart group for all of those franchise locations that have those nurse employees. And so we can test that out on our end and make sure that all of that will work for you, but I think that that has the potential to do what you're looking for it to do. It is reading Information Manager, so the data would have to be in Information Manager in order to create the smart group. Otherwise, you could create a regular group. So smart groups aren't the only option that you have. You have two different types of groups. You can create a regular group, and I normally say that regular groups represent a moment in time. And so what that means is if you currently know all of the staff or all of the locations that currently have nursing staff, you could place all of those into a regular group. If a new franchisee comes into the organization and they have nursing staff, then you would have to manually place them into the regular group. That's why I say regular groups represent a moment in time, because we're going to have to update them regularly, whereas smart groups allow the data in the system to update the group manually. Automatically. So the smart groups, we can set the criteria a little bit more detailed. So there's a question if we can set a smart group to just be for one particular region. So you can set a smart group to be more detailed versus sort of how macro we've made it in the examples we've provided. So you should be able to do that, Natalie. I'm just looking through the questions now to see what else we have. So there was another question on the line from Joyce with regards to grouping veteran owners. So I think I've kind of addressed that here in Information Manager. If we know that they are a veteran owner, we can do one of two things. We can create a smart group whenever the field is filled in. Whenever the field is filled in that they're a veteran owner, they can automatically be placed into the smart group. If you know all of who your veteran owners are, you can manually place them into a regular group. And so either option will work for you. If you already have a field for a veteran owner, then the smart group will work for you as you fill in that field for your franchisee. They will automatically be placed into the smart group because that criteria is met. If you don't have a field for them, you can either add one and update those fields for those franchisees who fit in that category, or you can create a regular group, again, which represents a moment in time. Next time you have a franchisee that comes into the organization that meets this criteria, you'll manually add them to the group. So I hope that answers your questions with regards to smart groups. If you have any other questions on the line here today, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll open up your line for verbal communication. If not, feel free to place in the chat box. Yes.
We've got a question we managed to skip over by accident in the chat box, which was, can you explain how FimCapture works? Specifically, what and where do the email addresses for franchise need to be in order for FimCapture to work? Does the email need to be the same in multiple areas in Fim, or can it have different email in center info and legal info?
Yes, I did see that. I think Jay has a little bit more experience with the capture area,
Okay.
and perhaps he can answer this. And if not, then we may have to come back to it and get some more technical folks to answer it.
Got it right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Jay's just setting
All
up
right,
to answer
Jay,
that
take it
now,
over.
so we'll take that as the
Great.
next one.
Jay, you can take the screen whenever you have a second.
Okay. All right, so again, the question was about how does the email capture work? So first of all, what is email capture? It's our way of collecting, right now you're able to use FranConnect, the sales tool, FIM, CRM. So for those of you that have those different tools, you're able to send out emails from the system. So for example, email campaigns, or if I wanted to send an email to a franchisee to remind them that the renewal is due, I could use a template and send it through the system. So then, the question is, what happens once you've sent out that email from the system? How do they get that information back into the system? So again, this goes out to their Outlook. So we write an email for, hey, your renewal is due within 30 days. They'll get the correspondent. They'll reply back. And when they reply back, the thing is that we have a POP server set up. So within the admin section, an info manager, and again, this can also be seen in other parts of the system, but there is an area that says Configure Info Manager Email Capture. So you'd work with your IT person. Also, you can work with us to set up your POP server and email. And then what would happen is when the franchisees respond back, or anyone wants to forward like an email, they would CC or BCC this email address, and it'll automatically populate that information into the record of the info manager. And that maps it based on the email of the franchisee. So that would be from any of the fields you see over here. You can also select from the emails that have a little icon. So so based off of the email that's linked to this, it'll populate it into the system. And so same thing with the owners tab. Owners can have their email addresses in there. And that right there should be the one that it's connected to when the emails are sent back. So that is how the email capture works. Again, there are some other ways to collect emails and communications from your franchisees or other correspondents. Within the admin section, there's the options tool. And each user has access to options where they can go to download apps. So once they've gotten to the download apps page, there's an Outlook email uploader tool. So this integrates with Outlook users. So for those of you that are using Outlook, what's going to happen is there's going to be a new icon in your Outlook inbox. And what that will allow you to do is it will allow you to select the emails you want to sync within FranConnect. And so it does the same exact thing. It looks at the emails that are associated to the location, and then it'll automatically populate it in it.
Now we have a follow-up, I think.
So okay, so as long as the email is entered and checked, it doesn't matter which one is used. Capture should get into the contact history, correct? So what I'm going to do on that one specifically, that's the one I'll make sure we follow up on, just to see if there's a specific rule on. So we'll definitely follow up with you on that, Natalie. Thank you for asking that question. And so, kind of to elaborate a little bit further on the Outlook portion, there's going to be a integration within Outlook, and you can select Upload, and you'll be able to upload emails and just use your login ID, password, and the URL that you use to log into your FranConnect system. And you'll see these icons on your Outlook to upload emails into the system. So again, those are some ways to get communication into the FranConnect system. Yep, and so we'll make sure that we can get you further clarifications on those as well.
Okay, so we've come to the end of our chat queue of questions. We're looking for more questions that we can answer for you. We're slated to be here for an hour, so we have extra time to answer some things if they are occurring to you now.
All right, another one just came in regarding questions about some of the metrics that are used for the franchise recruitment process. And so, you know, specifically this question was related towards how to track communication that was made. So for example, we have a report here for a contact report dashboard. So this is a great way for you to see, you know, how many leads you've received, how many of those leads actually filled out an application, how many got 0 phone calls, how many got more than 2 phone calls, how many were sent the campaign, how many leads read that email, and, you know, even through the time frame. So it breaks down, you know, your communication pattern to identify any gaps in the sales process, also including, you know, which of those leads were unqualified or killed. So again, these dashboards here would be a great way for you to just check the communication history that takes place between the sales reps and the candidates. Remember, you've got your filters, so you can also filter by various sales team members. Okay. So thanks for that question. All right, another question came up about the sites option. So basically with sites, we have this new functionality, and again, this is mostly for Sky users, where we can actually track our locations. So for example, if there was a new construction going on and we wanted to manage the actual physical location of the area, we would choose the site clearance option. And so within this, we can set this up to integrate with either sales or with the franchise opener tool. And depending on which module you want to integrate it with, you can work with our team to set that up. So in this example, we'll just look at the one for the opener. And so the benefit of this is that, you know, if you got a location, if you got a candidate that's interested in opening up one in the Mall of America, for example, and you know it's going to be a brand new site, and you're trying to bid on getting that specific site, what you can do is you can manage that site through the Sites tab. So this will allow you to go in here and add information pertaining to it. This could be if it's like a resale or existing store. You can put in, you know, whichever area you want to put that into, so the city and the state. So you're collecting information about the physical location, because eventually what the goal is to link the candidate to this site that they have interest in. And these are all configurable, so you can put in, you know, the building size, the parking spaces that are available, the demographics. You can also embed videos of the actual site. So once you've added it, then you can negotiate, you know, the contract. So if you're speaking to the landlord or the realtor to see if you can get that within your budget, reduce rent, you know, rent or lease by 10%. You know, you can track that kind of comment within your site selection. You can also track which stores are the closest to the location. So if there's any competitors, or you know, if there's another location 25 miles away, you'll know that through here. Once you've got your sites, you can go back and review them, and you can take the information and link this to a franchisee candidate. And so we know that this person's been looking into purchasing the store. So we can go ahead and associate this candidate to a location, and we'll be able to lock it so that no one else can claim that location. Because in case you had several people that were interested in one prime location, you can give it to the appropriate correspondent. So that's really the site summary option available. So thank you for asking that question. We're going to leave it open for any additional questions from anyone.
Okay, we don't have any more questions on the chat screen, and we don't have any raised hands. So we think we're going to refund you about 15 minutes of your day today. I want to thank everybody for being so interactive today. Thanks for all your great questions, and they're going to go into the FAQ bank so that other people can see them as well. We're going to try really hard not to over-survey you, so you won't be getting a survey that says, how did this go? But if this was useful for you, we would love an email to training@franconnect.com. And if that email had a question in it for next week, that would be even better. Thank you so much for your participation today. We'll see a lot of you next Friday. Thanks.